Hey everybody, so welcome to the week 2 summary and lessons learned video where we are going to recap how week 2 went, and of course we'll take a look at what we can learn from the experiences this week. Alright, so jumping in, I like to start these by taking a look at the activity sheets, the activity tracking sheets. So, looking at Portuguese, as always, this might be a little bit blurry, but you can see that I finished the first 3 levels of the Babel courses, which is really, really good. I'm really excited about that. Let me just check. Last time, because I can still see my progress from before, last time I studied Babel Portuguese, I got about halfway through level 4 of the beginner's courses. So I'm almost caught up to where I was previously. And yeah, I mean, I have to say I'm really enjoying it. My biggest thing when I'm learning a new language or any language is that I just want to see like all of the core and important grammar. I actually think that's really important, and it's really important to discuss the distinction between me saying I want to see all of the grammar and all of the structures as opposed to I want to master it. And I think that's one of the big things that the average learner does, and I think one of the things that separates polyglots, or at least successful polyglots, from everybody else is that, so I'm not concerned with mastering the beginner book, for example, or the Babel courses. And I think that's where a lot of learners get hung up. That's where they stick around forever. And I think that contributes to the lack of confidence people have in themselves and their ability to move forward, because they're like, well, I haven't mastered the basics yet. I haven't mastered, like, this book is still not totally clear to me. A, I obviously can't move on to more advanced stuff, and B, I'm obviously not good at this, right? And that's just simply not true. I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. So my first guide in a series of publications I'm working on right now is actually going to be sort of an introductory guide all about very specifically what sets polyglots apart from everybody else. But it's not just about how to become a polyglot. It's to say, what can everybody learn from polyglots, whether you're learning 1 language or 5? What are the lessons that we can all learn? And that is one of them. Typically, polyglots that are successful don't really care about mastering the basics right up front. A lot of us, we just want to see everything, right? And then we want to move on. So because once I've seen how to form the past tense, right? Once I've seen the passive, in French, once I've seen the subjunctive, right? Once I've seen il faut is a kind of a funny thing in French because it's like an impersonal expression where there's not like a subject per se. It's not like I do, I see, he does. And so once I've seen il faut a number of times and I kind of know at least what it is, what it does, then I'm good to go, because then I just jump into reading authentic stuff, watching videos with subtitles, all kinds of stuff. But whenever I see these structures and these things, like, they're not foreign, right? I haven't mastered them, but I've seen them before, right? And so then it becomes this very gradual, long-term process of actually mastering those things through seeing them in tons of different situations, right? And I'm not just talking about extensive reading and the philosophy of just seeing a bunch of stuff. That's also part of it, but it's also the more intensive approach that I tend to focus on. But the main point is that it's a long and, frankly, it's a beautiful and enjoyable process and journey of solidifying and sort of honing the skills that you have in each language, right? So I say that because I think that's one of the reasons why my Portuguese didn't quite get as advanced, and that's probably one of the reasons why Portuguese deteriorated a lot. Because as you can see, I never got past like halfway through all the beginner stuff. So I'm really enjoying seeing a lot of things. I'm seeing how to form things like the past tense in various ways, seeing a lot of really good phrases. So I'm just really looking forward to powering through the rest of the Babel material so that I can really dive in. I mean, I've done this so many times, so I can make pretty strong predictions on the way this will work. So what you're going to see, you're going to see me kind of improving gradually, or maybe even quite quickly, as I go through all this stuff here. However, once I get to focusing on reading the novel A Casa de Papel and really working hard with these YouTube shows that are authentic, full-on material, you're going to see my Portuguese just explode upwards. And that's when you'll start to notice that I'm using like really natural, authentic, like, you know, phrases and idioms and ways of speaking. That's when you'll notice my pronunciation and rhythm and intonation really start to become more and more and more accurate. And it's going to be the same thing with German. So in German, let's take a look. My goal last week was to finish the first graded reader and finally also read the second one. Well, as you can see, not only did I read the whole first graded reader, and I actually started again, so I started from scratch, I also smashed my goal of reading the second one, and I even got started on the third one. So this is all quite basic stuff. I have to admit, it's not terribly challenging for me. These graded readers are fairly simple. But that combined with studying the easy German is really helping. But it's really just sort of priming the pump. It's sort of like greasing up the gears. I'm fine-tuning the engine. But really what it's doing is getting me ready for some serious, like, this is going to be amazing. This is Jeder ist käuflich, which is going to, it's still a graded reader, but it's much more advanced. It's a detective story. It's longer. That's going to actually require some real effort on my part, where I'm going to be doing intensive reading for the first time since coming back to languages. And that's where I flourish. But what's really going to ramp it up, when I get to focusing completely on easy German episodes and this novel, I'm telling you, that is what will smash me through the barrier. That's when I'm going to start speaking really, really excellent German at that point. So again, you start to, this is, I guess, that's a combination of our summary from week 2, but also lessons learned. You can see a very similar, it's slightly different, right? Partly based on the language, partly based on the resources, but mostly just because of what I've done in the past. And by the way, the only reason why I know what I did in the past is because of these. But you can see sort of the path that this is going to take. And another lesson learned from this week, you'll notice that I didn't get a lot of music done over here. And I will tell you as well, I did not, I haven't done much work with the feedback I've gotten from you guys in the comments on my German videos, which I really want to use. I really want to take advantage of the feedback you're giving me because I appreciate it so much. However, you'll notice that I smashed my goal for last week, right? So to me, the second really big lesson this week is the true value of these tracking sheets, or at least one of the ways they're valuable. They're valuable because by tracking your activity every week, that's how you're best able to refine every single week, right? So if I didn't track what I did last week, it'd be difficult for me to say, okay, here's how I can improve next week, right? Here's what I'd like to focus on next week. Here were my shortcomings last week. But by having these very simple tracking sheets every week, so the first week I noticed I did not get enough reading done. Let's fix that. Week 2, I fixed that. But I realized I didn't do enough work on the comments and the feedback from you guys. So week 3's goal for German is to really spend a lot of time with all of your feedback that you've given me while still reading a lot and still doing my easy German. And the goal for Portuguese is to, I think I would like to finish level 4. And Portuguese, I'm pretty satisfied. I just want to keep pushing forward with Portuguese. So again, it's so nice to have this plan laid out. I don't have to really put much effort in. And also with German, I am dying to get to this more difficult reading assignment. So I would like to, I don't know if I can. I'd like to really ramp the reading up this week and see if I can finish all 5 initial graded readers. Because I think week 4 would be a great time to just dive headfirst into intensive reading finally with Jede ist käuflich. Because, yeah, this is exciting. This is very exciting. We're only 2 weeks in, and look how much things are progressing. Oh man, can you imagine by the end of the year what is possible? Oh, I'm so excited. So there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed that analysis. I hope you guys are learning from my experiences, because I'm learning every day. And so now I guess it's going to be time for me to turn off the camera and then turn it right back on and film a video in German for you guys and also in Portuguese. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna have a pretty exciting little update for you guys on this journey. So make sure you stay tuned for that.